And this is really the end point of an identitarian and identity politics perspective that's been pushed by the radical left and is now entering our mainstream politics. And it is literally a cancer on exactly the type of nation that America is. There aren't that many examples of peaceful, successful, freedom-loving, prosperous, multi-ethnic nations. There aren't that many examples in history, and it's been a tremendous asset to the United States to be one. But our politics in particular cannot survive this kind of identitarian ideas. It breaks people up by racial categories, and it tells people that their racial or sexual orientation or their gender or however they choose to identify themselves, those groupings are more important than anything else that guides their politics, and even more importantly, more important than what we have in common as Americans, as fellow citizens.
Right.
And it really is a cancer on exactly the type of nation that America is. Our country in particular cannot deal with this type of politics very well without becoming, Yugoslavia.
Right, and it's such a toxic message, too. This is what Jemele Hill writes. She said, "Why should this matter to anyone beyond the administrators and alumni of the HBCUs themselves?" She answers her own question saying, because black colleges play an important role in the creation and propagation of a black professional class, despite constituting only 3% of four-year colleges in the country, HBCUs have produced 80% of the black judges, 50% of the black lawyers, 50% of the black doctors, 40% of the black engineers, 40% of the black members of Congress, and 13% of the black CEOs in America today. And that's a wonderful thing that they're so successful. But when I read this, I interpret this as Jemele Hill telling young black people that in order to be successful, you must surround yourself by people that look like you because, as you say, Inez, because that is your primary identity.
Yeah, and that is toxic, right? To tell people that their primary identity and that they can only be comfortable and safe around people of the same ethnicity, of the same cultural background. Again, that's really toxic in exactly a country like America. Look, I'm glad that historically black colleges and universities exist, and it's fine that they do. And in fact, they accept people of all races. That's why they're called historically black. They're not segregation institutions. They're not segregated institutions. And it's fine for folks to want to attend there of all races and to respect the history of those universities and the university system within the United States, which sprung up because there was hard segregation in the past in the United States, and there weren't a lot of opportunities for black Americans to go ahead and get a college degree and launch themselves into the middle or upper class in the professions. So they have an important history. But to say that black athletes or any other students should only attend HBCUs and that they should be worried about attending a university that doesn't have that history, it is just one more step on the road to balkanization, one more step on the road to fraying the citizenship ties of Americans. We should be looking at each other and saying what we have in common,
right.
What as fellow Americans we have in common, instead of always emphasizing group identity and what drives us apart. That is a dangerous game to play in this country.